So King Charles is here to help mend fences, okay? He wound up saying something to Congress that kind of embarrassed me. It did. And I think it should embarrass you too. Here it is.
Magna Carta is cited in at least 160 Supreme Court cases since 1789, not least as the foundation of the principle that executive power is subject to checks and balances.
Beautiful sentiment. And then I heard this. Why are they clapping? Why is anyone on the right side of that aisle clapping? Do they expect you to believe that they value checks and balances when they are allowing a sitting president to violate them in ways we have never seen? They're clapping after they ducked military authority that allowed the mystery that is ongoing in Iran. They're clapping when the DOJ is taking dictation from the president and suing everyone he doesn't like. They clap. He uses the FCC to go after 20,000 ABC TV employees because he doesn't like one of them. Messing with their broadcast licenses if they don't axe Kimmel. The irony. You clap for a king who is saying he respects the checks and balances of power that are supposed to envelop our presidency, while you cower before a president who abuses every check and balance he can and acts like a king. Not to put too fine a point on it, but did you see this? Put it up. You see that thing? You see him there? He says two kings with a crown emoji. Look, all but a few in half that Congress say nothing, especially when he tried to change the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution by himself. Nothing. He just indicted former FBI head Comey again. The first time, you know why he failed, right? Because he ignored a check on his ability to appoint people at the DOJ. And the courts called him out, not Congress. The crime this time? Comey posted a seashell photo that said 8647. And they claim it was a threat against Trump. Are you serious? You're okay with that? You see this as ending lawfare? Isn't that what you voted for? Jimmy Kimmel. He made a joke. He's a comedian. The president called many members of members of the press an enemy of the state. And he wasn't joking. Okay? He openly debases the idea of a free press and many times whips his people into frenzies at rallies where they come at media. He routinely savages women and minorities and divides on purpose. I'm not telling you that. Bill O'Reilly did. He admitted on NewsNation, Trump divides because it gets him attention. And you're just okay with it. And then I saw this on Fox. Put the picture up. The Democrats have a rhetoric problem. On the bottom of the screen, it said, I don't know what this said. It said the Dems are blaming the victim after the White House Correspondents' Dinner incident. I don't know why they put that up. I sent a picture where on the bottom it says, the lower third for Fox News is Dems blame victim. You calling the President of the United States a victim? Look, I have no desire to see violence towards this president. It is shameful. There have been 3 attempts on his life in 2 years. I called after he was shot. Did you? I reached out after this, after the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And some on the left come at me when I say that. And that's proof of what's wrong with them, not me. But the president is no victim. First, he is an active participant in driving people to violence and political extremism, period. If anything, he owns a share of victimizing the people who poison politics. That is the state of play between right and left, and he helped make it that way as much as any. And how dare you call the President of the United States a victim? He is the most powerful man on the planet. He suffered nothing that night, thank God. Do not demean the power of his office. Do not pretend he needs your protection. He is here to protect us, to protect the right and privilege to interface with the American people that you waste at Fox News on a regular basis. The job is not to pretend our president is a victim. It is to check him when he tries to victimize the people. That's the job. So I was moved by it. Can we go sit down now? I'm getting a little tired. Thank you. So I think that we got to take this more seriously. You got to have what the king was saying there, that you applauded for. All right? I mean, that's what we have to do. So let's discuss the state of play on what may happen with this 60-day mark, okay? Because the 60-day mark is a real thing, all right? Congress cannot give him a pass this time, like they did when he initiated. The reason that O'Reilly and the others play with this pretense that the regime was weeks away from getting a nuke, because that's imminent, except we don't know that. And then they say, oh, you like the regime. What? You're okay with them getting a nuke. What? No, I'm okay with facts. Okay, I'm okay with not having people get killed unnecessarily. That's what I'm looking for, because that's my job, you see. Now Congress, 60 days. They gave him a pass in getting in. They can't give him a pass now. So what are they coming up with? A new pretense. The new pretense is, oh, well, the ceasefire told the counting of 60 days that triggers congressional action under the War Powers Resolution. What? Yeah, you heard it last night right here. Listen. Congress has to vote. Do you think that that could be the exit for this president? That he presents what he thinks should happen, they vote, and they say, no, we want it to end. We'll deal with the negotiation.
Well, with the ceasefire in place, Chris, the clock stops ticking. So the president actually does have some time leeway here. And I strongly agree that this is a situation where we can continue to build our pressure on the Iranians.
Former National Security Advisor Victoria Coates, smart, like having her on the show. Confidence is not the same thing as correctness, okay? You know where it says in the War Powers Resolution that what she just said, that it's told? Nowhere. It's not a thing. Stating it like a fact doesn't make it anything more than a feeling, which it is. And now you're seeing this everywhere. Oh, well, they are saying that the ceasefire, yeah, they can say whatever they want, okay? The plain language of the law is clear. A president can only go in unilaterally because of imminent involvement in hostilities. That's why they made up the emergency thing, okay? All right, but now we're past that because Congress gave him a pass. The 60 days is non-negotiable. They have to vote, okay? They're pretending like they don't. They want to accept this ceasefire thing. It's not a thing. Know that, okay? Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.